Elephant, the gentle titan that remembers everything. If the wild had a heartbeat, it would sound like the footsteps of an elephant. Every step shakes the ground. Every trumpet call carries across miles, and every moment they exist feels sacred. Elephants are living testaments to time, creatures that move through the world like walking memories. With bodies built like fortresses and hearts large enough to remember love, loss, and laughter, they are nature's philosophers. We call them giants, but they are far more than size. An elephant can weigh up to 6 tons, yet it walks silently, as if careful not to disturb the earth it guards. Their trunks, living multi-tools made of 40,000 muscles, can lift a tree or pick up a grain of rice with equal grace. They use them to touch, to comfort, to communicate. Elephants greet one another by entwining trunks like humans shaking hands. And when a calf is born, the entire herd celebrates. It's not just instinct. It's empathy, the kind that feels more human than we like to admit. But no great creature walks without myths trailing behind it. Ancient legends said elephants hold up the world on their backs, carrying the weight of creation itself. In Hindu mythology, the god Ganesha, elephant-headed and wise, removes obstacles and blesses beginnings. In Africa, they're the keepers of rain and memory, symbols of patience and royalty. And in parts of Asia, it's believed that when an elephant dreams, the earth listens. Science may not confirm that, but it does prove something almost as magical. Elephants never forget. They remember watering holes from decades ago, routes from their youth, even the scent of loved ones long gone. They can recognize another elephant's bones and mourn them years later. Herds have been observed returning to the same spot where one of their own died, gently touching the remains in silence. It's grief, it's respect, it's love, and it's proof that emotion isn't human property. There's even a myth that elephants cry real tears. Scientists debate it, but anyone who's looked into those eyes knows. They feel something deep, something ancient. They carry joy and pain like they carry their weight, with quiet strength. Elephants live in societies built on wisdom. The matriarch, usually the oldest and smartest female, leads the herd with experience passed through generations. Her memory is the map that keeps everyone alive during droughts. She knows where the rivers flow and which paths are safe. The younger elephants learn by watching her, not through force, but through trust. They walk miles together every day, communicating through vibrations that travel through the ground, seismic whispers that can be felt by others over 10 miles away. They use over 70 different vocal sounds, each with a meaning, warnings, greetings, affection, even lullabies for their calves. And when they play, it's pure joy. Young elephants chase birds, splash in rivers, and wrestle like oversized toddlers. They're curious, emotional, and mischievous. There are videos of elephants stealing sugarcane from trucks or sneaking into farms for midnight snacks. They have personalities as vivid as humans, some shy, some bold, some dramatic. Scientists even say elephants can laugh. Maybe that's what makes them so magnetic. Beneath that armor of strength lives a soul that still finds humor in life. But for all their brilliance, elephants face a world that often forgets its giants. Poaching, shrinking habitats, and conflict have pushed them to the edge. Yet they endure, patient, powerful, unshakable. They mourn their fallen, protect their young, and adapt to landscapes scarred by humans. Some elephants have even evolved to live without tusks, a tragic but clever defense against hunters. Despite all we've taken from them, they remain forgiving. There are stories of elephants returning kindness to humans who once rescued them, remembering faces years later and approaching with gentle rumbling purrs. It's humbling to realize that creatures so big could also be so gentle. In a way, elephants are mirrors. They show us what strength looks like when it's kind. They don't dominate their world. They preserve it. They don't rule through fear. They lead with wisdom. Maybe that's why they become symbols of memory, patience, and family. They remind us that intelligence isn't about building things. It's about feeling deeply and acting with balance. So next time you see an elephant, whether in the wild, on screen, or in your imagination, remember, you're not looking at an animal. You're looking at a legacy, a creature that has walked with the earth since before we wrote our first words. And for one last laugh, why don't elephants ever use computers? Because they're afraid of the mouse. But truthfully, if any creature deserves to run this planet, it's them. The elephant doesn't roar, doesn't conquer, doesn't rush. It simply remembers. And that's what makes it eternal. These guys look like they were designed by a committee that couldn't agree on anything. Someone said, let's give it the strength of a bulldozer. Another said, but make it emotional. And someone else shouted, don't forget the built-in snorkel. And boom, the elephant was born. We're talking about the largest land animal on Earth. An adult African elephant can weigh over 6 tons, yet somehow moves more gracefully than most humans walking on Lego. Their trunks have 40,000 muscles, which is more than the entire human body combined, and they use it for everything. Eating, drinking, hugging, fighting, sniffing, greeting, even scratching their own backs. Imagine if your nose could pick up your groceries, honk like a trumpet, and slap your annoying cousin. That's an elephant's Tuesday afternoon. Now, you might think an elephant's thick skin makes it unstoppable, but it's actually super sensitive. They can feel a fly land on them. Yes, the same animal that can knock down a tree can also be mildly annoyed by a mosquito. They even use mud baths as sunscreen, literal natural skincare. Move over, beauty influencers, elephants were doing spa days before it was cool. They also have massive ears, like living solar panels, which they use to regulate temperature. When it gets hot, they flap them like giant fans, cooling the blood running through the veins. It's genius. Also kind of adorable. And their feet? They can detect seismic vibrations, meaning elephants can literally feel sound through the ground. They know when a storm's coming or when other elephants are walking miles away. So next time your Wi-Fi drops, remember, elephants communicate through earthquake-level FaceTime. But here's the part that blows everyone's minds. Elephants are emotionally complex. They don't just live, they feel. They mourn their dead, remember friends after decades, and even seem to recognize humans who helped them years ago. They'll caress the bones of old herd members, staying still and silent. It's eerie, beautiful, and completely real. Scientists say their brains are 3 times the size of ours. Well, in mass, not necessarily ego. They have the largest hippocampus of any land animal. That's the part responsible for emotion and memory. So yeah, they remember everything. And that's where the saying, an elephant never forgets, comes from. But it's not just memory. They also forgive. There are stories of elephants returning to villages years after being freed, gently touching the people who saved them. I mean, if elephants ran the world, there'd probably be no wars, just occasional mud fights and emotional group hugs. Now, let's bust a few myths, because humans have been talking nonsense about elephants for centuries. Myth 1. Elephants are scared of mice. False. They don't fear mice. They just don't want a surprise tail tickle on their toes. Which, to be fair, same. Myth 2. Elephants eat peanuts. Also false. That's a circus thing. They'd much rather eat grass, bark, and fruit. Myth 3. Elephants can't jump. That one's actually true. They're the only mammal that can't jump. But honestly, do they need to? They weigh as much as a small car. Jumping is a health hazard. They're already living proof that you don't need to leap to make an impact. Myth 4. Elephants are slow. Nope, they can sprint up to 40 kilometers per hour, which means if one's charging, you better pray your Uber driver has a head start. And here's a bonus fact. Elephants can swim for hours using their trunks as snorkels. Picture that, a 6-ton submarine with tusks casually cruising the river. Nature went, let's give grace to whales, stealth to sharks, and just chaotic genius to elephants. But elephants aren't all grace and philosophy. They've got mischief in their DNA. In India, one broke into a liquor store, down a barrel of rice wine, and passed out in a paddy field like a college student after finals. In Africa, some sneak into villages at night to steal mangoes and bananas, leaving behind chaos and footprints the size of dinner plates. In Thailand, there's a record of one elephant stealing sugarcane from a truck so fast, Even Formula One drivers would have been impressed. And my favorite? In South Africa, a young bull once flipped over a tourist car, not out of aggression, but because his reflection in the window looked like competition. Imagine being that confident. Elephants are basically giant toddlers, emotional, unpredictable, always hungry, and occasionally dramatic. Still, behind the comedy is something profound. Elephants have structure, leadership, and love. The matriarch leads the herd not because she's the biggest, but because she remembers the most, where the water hides, where danger lurks, where the past speaks. It's wisdom, not muscle, that makes her queen. They teach us that strength and empathy can live in the same body. They're loyal, gentle, and terrifying when provoked, kind of like your mom when you talk back. And despite their size, they're surprisingly cautious. They step carefully, avoiding crushing insects or roots unnecessarily. They move through the forest like polite titans, aware of their impact. That's something humanity could probably learn from. They even comfort each other, touching trunks to calm friends in distress, or purring softly when reunited after separation. Imagine a world where we all acted like that. It'd be louder, clumsier, but definitely kinder. So yeah, the elephant isn't just an animal. It's nature's reminder to stay humble, stay kind, and take up space without apology. It's proof that intelligence doesn't need arrogance, that power can coexist with peace, and that even giants can be gentle. And before we go, let's leave on a joke, because these legends deserve a laugh. Why do elephants never use social media? Because they already have the best memory, and no one wants to see a 6-ton influencer posting trunk selfies.